Hi everyone. Today we're making a basic chocolate chip muffin recipe, and I'll put the recipe in the comments so you can see the full ingredients and full details. But this is a decent recipe that I find my kids like, and it's just nice and simple. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the dry ingredients ready. So I've got 2.5 cups of flour that I'm going to put in. Then I've got 1 tablespoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, and then I'm going to put half a teaspoon of salt in, and then I'm going to add the chocolate chips into the dry ingredients right now as well. I think I have about a cup and a half there, and then you just give that a quick stir. You don't have to stir it too much. After that, I'll put my wet ingredients together, which will start with a couple eggs. So there goes one, and there goes the second one. Got a tiny bit of shell in there. Just pull it out. After that, I'm going to put in the melted butter. So I've got half a cup here of melted butter. Melt it on the stove and then let it cool. Let it cool down so it's not piping hot when you add it in here. If you put it in and it's too hot, it kind of combines with some of the cooler ingredients and it gets really lumpy. It goes lumpy real quick. So you throw that in there. And then the other thing I'll just note is eggs. Whenever you're doing a baking project like this, almost any one, you're going to want to let the eggs sit out if you possibly can for 20 or 30 minutes and come to room temperature. So I've got that stuff in there, and then I'm going to add 1 cup of milk. They actually call for buttermilk in this recipe, but if you put a cup of milk in with a tablespoon of vinegar, this is the trick, turning milk into buttermilk for recipes like this. So I've got that. I'll dump that in there. And then I've got 1 cup of sugar I'm going to add to the wet ingredients. And finally, the last thing for this is a teaspoon of, there we go, vanilla. And then I'm going to give this a really good mix. I'm going to use the whisk for this one. Get it all mixed together real well. Once I have these ingredients put together, I'll add them directly into the dry ingredients, and then that's it. The batter will be totally done. So there's that. I'll pour this into the dry ingredients. Get my spatula out, so make sure I get it all in there. And then I'm going to combine these two together. And I like to use a spatula when I'm mixing the wet and dry ingredients. And a little trick about muffins, and you will see this in the write-up on the recipe as well, that you don't want to overmix muffin batter. You just mix it until it's barely combined, and you're not seeing big lumps. You don't mix it and pound it, because the muffins turn out a lot nicer if you just combine the ingredients carefully. So you can see, I'll tilt it up. You can see it's almost there, almost combined. A little bit of dry batter there still. I'll do just a couple more little turns here, and then it should be ready. There you go. You don't want to mix it really any at all past that. So that's it. That's our batter done. Now I'm going to pull the muffin tin over here, and it says to spray. You can use an oil spray like I'm doing here. You can use butter, whatever you want, but you want to make sure you're spraying down or buttering up the muffin pan. This recipe makes a dozen muffins. So once you have that there, you can start scooping the batter into the muffin tray. Just like that. Into all of them, and then I can see which ones need more at the end. There, done. Now, what you'll see with this recipe, I'm going to put it on the oven on 425, which is kind of a hot oven for baking muffins, but we do that just for 5 minutes. Then we turn the oven down to about 375 and do it for kind of 12 to 15 more minutes after that. What that does is the first 5 minutes when you blast the heat, it makes the top of the muffin puff up real nice, and then the rest of the time just kind of slows it down and cooks throughout.
There they are, fresh out of the oven. They turned out great. See how much they puffed up? And usually I even, at the time, I take a toothpick, just poke into one, just to make sure they're done.